We're talking college football playoff quarterfinals with a keen focus on the NFL draft, draft eligible prospects, what it means for the draft stock. We've got just a couple weeks to go until the underclassmen deadline, and a lot of these games could have an impact on whether players decide to dip their toes into the draft pool or return for another year. And we got one more game on New Year's Day, 8 p.m., the Sugar Bowl. It's going to be an SEC affair when number 6 Ole Miss faces number 3 Georgia. And, this one, again, you talk about the quarterbacks. They're going to have a lot of to say about this because Gunnar Stockton, Trinidad Chambliss, they don't get talked about in terms of being NFL draft prospects, but they both bring different kinds of experience. Chambliss, of course, from Ferris State Division II championship. Austin Simmons goes down week 3. In steps Chambliss, who's, by the way, is waiting to hear back from the NCAA for his eligibility waiver as he applied for another year. If not, he'll wind up in this year's draft. And Gunnar Stockton, really, Russ, is just a gamer, tough, hard-nosed runner, can make the throws that he needs to steer the ship in terms of that Bulldog offense. I hear they may be getting Colby Young back at wide receiver, who I'm a big fan of, big hands catcher, possession wide out, yards after catch, tackle breaking ability. But Ole Miss, they've got a chip on their shoulder, and they average 500 yards a game on offense. I mean, that is a high octane offense, but if anybody can stop it, it's Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs.
This to me is going to be a very interesting game because you mentioned Chambliss and Stockton. To me, I think Chambliss, we've talked about it before, he may not be an NFL starter type, but I think he's got the tools to play at the NFL level. I don't know if Stockton has the tools to even be in the NFL. When I watch him play, I'm really questioning his just talent to be a productive guy. I thought one of the most interesting things in their game that they won was the guy all year we've been saying has not been doing a lot, has not been as productive as we thought, Dylan Bell, because he's the most talented guy in terms of offense. And what did they do? They got him at running back at some of the plays in that game. He looked like the guy we expected. And I think in this game, if he is healthy, which he seems to be, and they use him like that, I think he could end up being the difference in this game because I think in that game last week, he showed a lot of the talent, that twitchiness, that explosion through the hole, which is something you don't often see for receivers, but they used him as a running back receiver. He, to me, is going to be the key on offense for this game because Georgia's offense has not been a dominant group this year. They have been an up and down offense that has struggled to consistently put up big points. I think if Dylan Bell is back to being what we expected before the season, I think he will be a huge factor in this game. I think Ole Miss is going to be what they are. I mean, they're efficient. Chambliss is a really good college quarterback. I think they have the Stribling and Wallace, their weapons on offense. They've got some guys. Their offensive line is good. And I will tell you, their defense may not have a lot of guys that you're talking about as premier rare guys in terms of draft this year, because most of their guys are younger underclassmen like sophomores and juniors. But I'll tell you one thing, they have speed on defense. These guys can go sideline to sideline. You're not going to get a lot of big plays on this defense because they have guys who can track you down. So I think it's going to be a very close game. If I were to bet, I actually think Ole Miss wins this game. But I think the X factor is going to be Dylan Bell. How well he plays, to me, will be the deciding factor. If he has a big game, Georgia wins easy. If he has an average game like he has a lot of this season, 40, 50, 60 total combined yards, rushing, receiving, I think Ole Miss wins this game.
Yeah, it feels like there's something magical brewing out of Oxford, with this team and the edge, the chip on the shoulder. It's like, our head coach abandoned us. We're out here on a mission, and I like the momentum they have. Now, defense, Xavier Harris is a monster in the middle. He's going to gobble up double teams and let guys like Prince Will Umanellan run wild. Suntarine Perkins came on in recent weeks. He's been getting into the backfield, and he has to be accounted for. But you mentioned the offense, and to me, You mentioned Stribling and Wallace. Deuce Alexander's a redshirt sophomore. I don't think he comes out for the draft, but that's somebody you want to keep an eye on for next year. And
Yeah.
then the tight end mismatch, Daquan Wright. He's more of like
Yeah.
an back guy, I think, at the next level, but he's a mismatch. And I know Kawan Lacey is banged up. He's been really a bell cow runner, one of the most impressive runners in college football this season. I think how healthy he is could hinder, that offense a little bit. For Georgia, you did a good job touching base. Zachariah Branch is a guy I think I'm still going to put as a
Yep.
dark horse candidate for round one just because of the speed. And
You have to.
Monroe,
He's twitchy. I mean,
yeah, he's just the burst acceleration. He is juicy, man. He's
the
got
only thing that I wonder, and tell me if it's just me, I know they've got the 5'9", 175. I really wonder if this guy's that big. I mean, he looked right. I mean, he looks
very
almost
light.
like 5'7" and change when you watch him out there. I mean,
Well,
his ability to make cuts though, and
it's
hit
like
that
Deshaun
hole,
Jackson.
it's just like Deshaun Jackson. I mean, he
Like
puts
Deshaun
one foot,
Jackson.
he explodes through holes, and it's almost like God. He's one of those few guys that when you watch him, he almost makes you shudder because you don't expect a guy. There's so few college players that just go by people. Most guys in the P4, even the fast guys, they're fast, but they don't separate in terms of they're as fast as everybody else. He's one of the few guys you see him, you go, oh, he's fast. Like he separates speed wise from everybody else. Really interesting guy, and I know he's a 1-year guy at Georgia. But there's something about him. I'm glad you brought him up because every time I've seen him, I think, who is this kid? Because I think if he's too small for the NFL, they could bring him up. He could be a Hall of Fame player up in the CFL. I'm always thinking Canadian League, sadly.
Yeah, no, I think Zachariah Branch is a guy like, and I'd be a little bit hesitant to use a first round pick on a guy who just touches the ball if you're lucky 5 times a game.
Yeah.
But he only needs one touch to make the difference in a game, and to
Yeah.
me, that's a rare talent. He'll probably be the fastest guy on the field. We mentioned this Bulldog defense. Christian Miller up front, a day 2 guy. CJ Allen on the second level, probably a first round guy. And then Dalen Everett, probably another guy that's going to be right in around the top 100 overall mix. So, the one guy I was going to say, Monroe Freeling, keep an eye on the left tackle, number 57. He's somebody who could declare and also work his way into the first round mix. There's a lot of love for him. We mentioned during the screen the right tackle. He's had some back issues that he's been dealing with, always an issue. And then Oscar Delp, the tight end, also deserves a mention. I don't have an updated status on Jam Miller, the running back. He's been on again, off again, banged up throughout. And in terms of a prediction here, I have trouble picking against Kirby Smart in these kind of matchups and these spots and just the experience and the culture. But I think Ole Miss is on a magical, mystical run for at least another week. And I'm gonna go Ole Miss here. I'm gonna go 27 23, and just another close game, Russ. All these games I figure to be very close.
And the thing, and firstly, I'm right there with you. It's hard to go against Kirby Smart. I've never met him in all my time covering the country, but everybody raves about him as a person, as a coach. He's been impressive. I think the thing that to me gets overlooked with Ole Miss, you talk about a magical season, and I think all those players, they were all excited. The season begins, and Lane's their coach. Publicly, we can hear all we want, but I'm sure there are people in that room that are pissed off that he jumped ship and went to LSU and didn't finish it out. And even if he says he wanted to stay and all that, there I'm sure are players that said, hey, then you shouldn't have taken the job. You told us to come here. We're playing for you. I think they're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder, wanting to win it for Golding, the new head coach there. I think they're going to come out and play the best game of the year. So I do think Ole Miss wins. I think it's going to be really close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I do think the difference is going to be Chambliss being just a better overall quarterback than Stockton. I just think there's something about it combined with that attitude of we want to win this for our new head coach. I take Ole Miss in this one. I do think it's going to be low scoring, but I'm going to go like 24 to like 18 or 19.
All right, well, we put the jinx on because I think we agreed on all 4 games.